What's up, y'all? You know what time it is. It's about to be that time.
And we're here. Hey, everybody. Welcome back. One Piece 1151. Last week was a banger. The only way to follow what happened last week is to go up. So, can we get much higher? How's everybody doing today? I'm opening up the chapter now. Just catching up on the chat here. There's a lot of action before we started. People talking about the leaderboard. People making predictions of what color shirt I'm going to wear. I saw that last week too. When did that start? Oh, man. All right. Okay. 11:51. I get the idea. We've got Yamato doing some sumo wrestling, so getting flashbacks to the very best of Act 1 of Wano. Admittedly, I think Act 1 might be my favorite act in all of Wano, but I mean the sumo battle, especially in the anime, was not the best. So this is really turning into Yamato's filler adventure. But if you look on the right, Kawamatsu's there, which was part of, I think, last week's thing, that they were going to go find Kawamatsu. So they have done so. Sumo tourney in Hakumai, hurling Urashima's big brother, Yokozuna Sukune. Oh, so this is not Urashima. This is a relative. All right. One second. Shout out to Chin for rejoining.
Another one.
All right, we're getting into the actual main parts of the chapter here. Okay, we're on page 2. Wait, captains, you mustn't do this. Okay, so we're getting some clarification of where Oimo and Kashi are, or at least Kashi. I was trying to figure out last week if they returned as well. Confirmation that they were not. Chief Ja Rule is the world's oldest warrior. He's a hero of legend. We've looked up to him our entire lives, haven't we? Yes, that's right, Kashi. The warrior we once admired has grown old and feeble, so it's time to force him into retirement. Ooh-wee. It is very interesting that this power of emos can alter the mind. You know, it truly corrupts, right? Which kind of implies, you know, maybe that, like, these individuals, especially Dory and Brogy here, do not have Conqueror's Haki or, you know, true will, incorruptible will. And another interesting thing, if you look at this second panel, is that Brogy, his hand still hasn't fully reformed. It's just floating with his hand. It's kind of grotesque. Page 3, we're on Dory now, and then we will be the kings of Elbaf. There's no need for the god of Elbaf anymore. Bring about the age of war. We'll build an era defined by the ruthless and mighty. Okay. You guys ever talked like that before? What's gotten into you? Stay back, Kashi. They were flipped over and turned into different people entirely. Now they're like demons, dark and twisted, all the way to their core. It can't be. Okay, looks like we're not done twisting people. Thor Man? Are we saying that's literally the name of this guy? Thor Man? Okay. Oh no, I'm trapped between them. I don't want to turn evil, don't flip me over. Okay. So this was discussed last week, and now it is becoming literal. That it is just like, go. And if it wasn't the big bad of the series, I would say, do they have the go fruit? The go no mi? Let's get these likes up, guys.
Come with me if you want to live.
Not go Othello. Doesn't go operate in a similar fashion, or am I wrong? So anyway, we're on the next page here. You don't flip pieces and go. Okay. Ah, what an incredible feeling. No, Thorman, not you too. Retreat for now. What's up with this guy's neck? Is he a long-necked giant? No, that can't be. Branch Route 8. We got Ripley here away from me, Colin. Is that true about Mr. Ya? Mama's gonna save you. Demons! The giant pirates have turned into demons! Okay, they're all having nightmares about demons, so we're gonna see even more of them. Go to the next page. Sure enough. Yep, there they are. Oh, this was a double page. I have missed some things, but let's see. The tides have turned against us. The enemy took out Gabon, it seems. Okay, so that's what Ripley was referring to. We have a nightmare hole where these things are coming out of. Get to your feet. You are not actually dead. Okay, so Killingham, as brought up last week, said that these things don't die and they can be resurrected. So all of the former nightmares are also getting to their feet, which adds to the tension, and I like that. Wahaha. That's right. Get up. Be reborn. There's no waking Elbaf from this nightmare. Next page. Now things are really cooking. Is this Killingham's true form? The great one here, there's no need to hold back. Rampage to your heart's desire, my sleep tids. Remember, Elbaf, you created these monsters yourself. This is a cool design. I like this. I wonder if they're part fishmen, and maybe that's why they have this bubble around their head or something. Because they, like, their design reminds me of Hody Jones. Okay, dragon fruit, mythical type, model Kieran, man-beast form. Yep. So this is Killingham's hybrid form. Didn't we get their fruit already? Because I feel like we talked about this. Anyway. Next page. Are there even more of them now? Looks to me like things have gotten pretty hairy. Master Dory, Master Brogy, what are you doing to your homeland? Wake up, you guys. Why do you look like that? Where's your sense of pride? Damn it, we can't save the children. Now I understand why Saul wasn't able to stop them. The children are being guarded by monsters and invisible thorns. Wake up, Bent, Ilva. Got time to be passing out. Coming to save you, boy. Just you wait. Alright, Mom's to the rescue. How far shall we go, Great One? The playing board is entirely in our color. They will eventually crumble under the weight of their own personal demons. Continue until it breaks. Until what breaks? The heart of it. This country would have been subjugated years ago, if not for Harold's miserable failure. Okay. So this is we had talked about this. That Harold probably was corrupted, and Loki is not bad, and was, in general, trying to stop all of this from happening. But the optics of this were not in Loki's favor. BK said, why is he a celestial if he's a fishman? Aren't the fishmen hated by the CDs? Yeah, I mean, that's... I don't know. I mean, that's the question, right? But Emil said, yeah, the sharp teeth are usually fishman hybrids. You know, we saw that with Dellinger as well. Shin said Randy likes centaurs. Not really. I was more referring to the top half of Killingham. The horse part is whatever to me. Like, I wasn't expecting, after, you know, you see the full, like, dragon head and all of that, that Killingham would have, like, a stereotypically cool anime look. You know, the hair, the face, everything like that. That's what we're dealing with here. Alright, next page. Many minutes earlier, Underworld. Okay, so we're jumping into the past, and then when we come into the present, at that particular moment, that's when Luffy and the gang are going to show up. Alright. Or, this is to explain where Chopper and Gaban were. Actually, I'm probably going to say that this has to address that, because when Gabon fell off, we didn't follow that. So they, and they haven't just been falling in the sky for multiple minutes. So, all right, I scrolled down. Yeah, this is Gabon and Chopper. Chopper saying I didn't think this through. All right, I'm hoping he goes guard point. I haven't seen guard point in a while. Calm down, Chopper. You got this. You can do this. Make sure he doesn't die. Did Chopper become a car? Like, what is up with those wheel legs? Alright. Next page. Yeah, guard point. Let's go. If you guys don't know, guard point is my favorite Chopper. Okay, so this is a double page spread. We're back with Loki. If you want answers, then beg me for them, Hyrutin. You killed my father, Loki. Now prepare to die. He was my father too, yet that didn't stop you from ending his life. Knock it off, Hyrutin. Hey, Chopper just fell down from above. Huh? I heard something. Did you see him? Nah. True, it does seem like something just came down from above. It was beyond the mountains. Say, how did I know it was Chopper? Someone else is with him. They're weakened. That sounds pretty bad then. Did they fall all the way from the sun world above? We gotta go search for them. This perspective makes Loki look really tiny. I don't know if this makes sense. Like, with the way that they've been characterizing this guy, like, I know he's sitting and everything, but... Next page. Hey, Gerd and Goldberg, you got anything on your wish list? Like someone's head, or some jewels, or... Oh, sure, we got wishes, but we're not unlocking your cuffs, Loki. Damn, bunch of goody two-shoes. Hello? Oh, are we gonna get a reveal of who's on the phone? Come on. Shaggy, listen, I'm busy right now. Call me back later. Don't worry, it won't take long. As a matter of fact, I'm busy too. Just one thing. Fine. Just keep your voice down. I wasn't able to tell you earlier, but I will be unable to call you for a while, I think. What do you mean? At first, I found it frightening, but the more you and I talked, the more our conversations became a source of solace to me, so I wanted to express my gratitude. Okay, what's going on? Don't tell me, are you in danger again somehow? Fine, don't worry. Where are you? I just wanted to say thank you for everything. Wait, hey Shaggy, click. Damn it. What are you looking at? Glad to know you have a friend to keep you company here in the lonely underworld. If you dare tell anyone. Good, prepare some medical surprise. Mr. Ya's badly hurt. I guess everyone loves this guy, huh? You're lucky that Chopper was here to save you. Good job, Chopper. Can't butter me up like that, you jerk. Okay, standard Chopper stuff. What? This old guy? He was on the King of the Pirates crew? He sailed with Roger and Rayleigh? He and Dark King Rayleigh were known as the Wings of the King of the Pirates. I assume he was the third strongest on the crew. So he was a huge pirate, huh? That would explain why he was so tough. It means he knows Shanks. Look, he's trying to say something. What is it, Mr. Yo? Second strongest. He seems really fixated on that detail. So good to see you awake again, Mr. Ya. How could this have happened to you? Oh, about that. There's huge trouble going on up there, Luffy. Listen up, everyone. The children were taken hostage by a couple of bad guys, and nobody can do anything to stop them. There are giant monsters rampaging around, and And, oh no, the hockey. My word. Everyone back on the lift. We're returning to the sun world. Elbaf's in danger. Save your breath, Chopper. I get the idea. Whose preposterous hockey is that? Oh god, looks like you're gonna need me after all. Alright. So, Oda wanted to play out the danger of everything a little bit, which I'm always for. So I'm glad he did that. I don't mind jumping a few minutes before to, you know, line us back up in the present. My issue is when he decides not to show some of this stuff. Yeah, they're gonna undo Loki's cuff, but of course they were always going to do that. Luffy had a bigger reaction to Scapper than I thought he would. But not, like, immensely. I do love that Scapper was like, no, I was the second strongest. It's just like Zoro and Sanji. It only works if they're equals. So, more than anything, I mean, this is really like it's a setup. Last week was really exciting, then this was the setup so that next week can be exciting, because that's when everybody is going to end up getting there. Although, I would like it if there was still a little more of a delay. I do want to sit more in the danger. But, I don't know, we'll probably get, like, 2 pages of like other things happening, and then they'll fly in. Big grand entrance, double page spread for Loki being uncuffed and up in the sun world. But you know, at that point, it's also like, what can we do with Loki at that point? Like, does he stay good? Does he stay on our side? Or is the whole point to get him turned into a demon as well? Or is this our way into the Herald flashback? Like, the moment Loki starts seeing Dory and Brogy, it's like, you know, you get the line like, oh, it's just like our father hired him. And then everybody like realizes like, wait, what? This is what happened? That's why you killed him? But then the other thing too is if this did happen to Herald and Loki killed him, then it means that Loki knows how to stop these guys. And we wouldn't necessarily need Scapper to give us all of the information if Loki can do it. So, it's interesting. I do wish that Luffy let Scapper talk a little bit more, but you know, especially considering the Chopper went down with the express idea that he was going to get Scapper to, like, give them the game on how to fight these guys. But I don't know. We'll see where we go. All right, time to look at chat. Shout out to Vasil Vladimanovici, said, the way I see it, Elbaf could turn into Sabati 2.0 with all the giants turned and everybody having to flee. Not to say that it will actually happen. I would love that. I mean, we've been talking about the archipelago parallels and everything, and I said, you know, at the very beginning of the arc that if indeed we were getting Scapper, then we better get Archipelago 2.0, right? Because it's like, if you're going to introduce us to the other person on Roger's crew, then, you know, give me all of the dangers, the perils, and everything that came with the archipelago. Because that's what's going to propel us into a great finale. Why is the end of the pre-time skip so revered? Because there was so much drama we lost, and then had to pick ourselves back up. That's what is good storytelling, right? But it's like, you do it again, but this time you win, right? You have the archipelago, you do some sort of training, some sort of splitting up, something, you know, whatever, you get Impel Down 2.0, everybody gets into a central location where now it's the biggest fight of their lives. Yeah, there's going to be deaths and everything like that, but ultimately you take down the government, and it's like, bam. Perfect full story, you know, circle storytelling and everything, and at some point, Laugh Tale and what the One Piece is. Chin, member for 45 months, said Gabon's number 2 reminds me of Zoro's worth 2,000 men in Wano. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's probably a thing that, you know, had we spent more time with Roger and his crew, that there's probably a thing where you would have Rayleigh and Gabon bickering about things like that, the way that Zoro and Sanji do. Clear parallels. I love it. Ryan said, Usopp talked this chapter. That's progress. Wow. Shout out again to Vasil, said, appreciate the super, said, Chopper doing cartoon wheel legs may be justified if Luffy's awakening has an influence on his crew. Chopper is the kid of the crew, so it makes sense that he's the first to unlock cartoon logic. Hey, you don't have to convince me that everybody needs their own Gear 5. I'll take Gear 5 Chopper. He's already got a human fruit in the first place. So, unlock it. Let's go. Chopper needs an upgrade. Shout out to Barry, typing and driving. Be careful. Xavier Ortiz supered and said, my wackiest thought is that either Zoro or Sanji might get reversied or mind wiped. You know, I was, you know, I'm worried about, I think that somebody on the crew has to. And last week I was talking about it making sense if it was Frankie, just because he's never embraced anything demonic and the rest of the crew has. I'd like to see Robin go Demonio Floor and then be confused for having, you know, been reversied. Because nobody else has seen that form. And maybe that's like a way to counter it in some way. But I don't, like, it, I'm bumping on the idea of too many members of the crew having it happen to them, because it feels like Conqueror's Hockey to me. And I feel like if you have a strong enough will, you should be able to bypass this. And I think what Oda's trying to tell us is that Dory and Broggy, like, don't have the strongest will. But, like, Luffy should in no way be able to be reversied. He should be able to fight it. I think that Zoro and Sanji should be able to fight it. If the crew does get reversied, right, that's how you get an archipelago moment, right? Could you imagine Luffy watching his friends one by one, instead of getting popped away to different islands, get reversied? And now they become part of that, part of all this. And then what we end up getting is what happened during Impel Down or something. Like, Luffy, like, goes and starts collecting new crew members to get his old crew back. Like, he gets Cross Guild or whatever, and now he's leading Cross Guild. He's got Crocodile, Buggy, Mihawk, like, and then he's going into all of this with them. I don't know, that would probably get some people upset, but I'm okay with it. I like the idea of Luffy, like, having another ragtag group. But I've always said that the real way to flip everything is to have, we had an entire saga with Luffy without his crew. And I would really love the symmetry and the yin and yang and mirror of a saga where it's the crew without Luffy, and then, like, seeing what they do to get their captain back. Now, that doesn't mean that Luffy has to get reversied. I think it would be, like, against the story after seeing, how changed Dory and Broggy were. I don't think the story could handle that happening to Luffy. But I've always liked the idea of seeing his crew and then, like, everybody that Luffy's ever saved come to try and save him. Yeah, I don't know. Barry said, I just love that man is on the brink of death and still had to make sure they understood that he's number 2. Yep. Jedmond supered and said, Imu's power dealing with turning pieces on a board while we are searching for the one piece has me thinking. Yeah. K-Pro N supered and said, how mad would you be if the one guy you needed gone was haunting you from the grave for like 800 years? Just a whisper through the years, but still alive. Because a man only dies when he's forgotten. So in that case, okay, are you suggesting that Imu actually is dead, but is only alive because no one really, because there are people that haven't forgotten Imu? So they're just moving through this world as, like, I mean, I did talk about it last week that, maybe Imu doesn't have a physical form. Like, Imu is not corporeal. Like, they are just that shadowy figure. And in order to become physical, tangible, they have to inhabit the body of someone else. And maybe that is part of, in line with what you're saying there. BeatGamer99 said, any comment on this weird observation hockey moment that Luffy is having unknowingly? Yeah, I mean, I did clock that. It's like, hey, Chopper just fell down from above. How did I know? How did I know it was Chopper? Someone else is with them. They're weakened. I mean, we've seen this before. You know, we've seen top tiers like, correctly predict, you know, where people are and all kinds of stuff. I mean, we've even seen Anel do it. You know, Rayleigh was able to like pinpoint things with his observation hockey to the like to insane detail. So it's just, it's more showing that Luffy has the capacity to be great, and he needs another mentor to help him fine-tune all that stuff, and his mentor's laying on the ground now. And hopefully that mentor is a mentor for everybody. Granite King with the puns said, theory, D's can't be flipped because of checkered fate. That would be an interesting way to find out who is a D and who's not, right? I'd love if it was a thing where that's actually true, like D's can't be flipped. And then Emu goes to like reverse Robin, and Robin like does not get flipped. And then it's like, whoa, Robin's a D, you know? Which, I don't know, I just feel like she has to be. Guardian Trees, Superden said, Chopper the GOAT. He got himself a Kaido feat, falling from the sky uninjured. Plus, he ran in the air like his captain. My boy is him. Well, you know, he's also got Guard Point. And shout out to Guard Point. I wish we saw it, though. Volkazard said Mihawk versus Demon Zoro would go hard. It would. It's not the way I would want that fight to go, but I'd still like to see it. Appreciate you, AD Straw Hat. Alex Mirren said, Luffy goes and Emu undoes the demon spell on everyone. I like that. Oh yeah. I was already following from that, but I see the earlier thing could work as sort of as a hostage trade with Emu. Yeah. So if Emu flips the entire crew, right? Then we could get my scenario, right? Like if Luffy just goes, like, sacrifices themselves and says, no, turn all my friends back in exchange for my life, right? Goes with Emu. Then we have Marineford 2.0, but Luffy is the one on the chopping block, which is what I want. Everybody else has been, you know, switched back, and then now it's, we gotta make a plan, and we have to go get Luffy back. That's my, I mean, that's my dream scenario for the end of the story. I don't know if we get it, but that is a way to get there, and I love that, Alex. Shout out to 80 Straw. Said, like the stream, just popping in to say howdy. You heard them. Get those likes up. My guy Dan DiCarlo in chat saying it's amazing to see One Piece getting more exposure in the U.S., especially with the Dodgers, the Yankees with Jazz. Yeah. I mean, but not only that, like, you know, there's been all these, like, sports collaborations. The Lakers and the Rams. What was that, last year? 2 years ago? Shout out to Growth Stocks. Super and said, on page 6, Killingham is carrying the Gjallarhorn. which is Heimdall's horn that symbolizes the beginning of Ragnarok. It looks like the final war has begun. That's a good catch. I like that. Shout out to K-Pro-N. Appreciate the super. Said, hear me out. Emu's greatest fear is Joy Boy. An unbreakable will and hockey that doesn't want to conquer anything. These guys are out here creating your greatest fear. I mean, there's a chance he did it to himself. Small chance, but still. See, that's why, like, I talk about this idea of Luffy being able to inspire people to go Gear 5 or get their own, like, awakening through, like what happened with Bonnie. Like, I feel like the Bonnie thing should not be overlooked. People are like, wow, this is jumping the shark, this is crazy. And it's just like, no, this is what the story's about, right? We are seeing everybody get reversied and get turned into these, like, you know, demonic figures and everything like that. But Luffy should be the figure opposite of Emu that's able to flip his side. But he doesn't know that he can do that power yet. But this was part of a theory that I had after the Bonnie thing. It wasn't as fleshed out to understand that we were going in this direction or whatever, but it was basically like Luffy is going to be able to bestow this upon other people once they get rid of the mental block in their mind that they can do it. So what we'll see is Emu continues, like, flipping people into, you know, a dark side, but then Luffy will be able to flip them into a light, and they'll instead of turning all black, they will turn all white and have the properties of Nika. Like, they will be able to create things. You know, imagine, like, and particularly Usopp will benefit the most from this because he has this, like, great imagination. It'll be like he has Flamenco's Devil Fruit, where he has this pocket dimension where he can just pull whatever out of, you know, anything out. And I'm excited for that sort of prospect. So it may be a thing where Luffy doesn't understand it right away, but then will realize, oh wait, I'm the key to changing this. Emu makes demons, Nika makes angels. Yep. Guardian Trees said Chopper's guard was the size of mountains, too. Oh wait, we did see it. Is that it in between the mountains? Because that's crazy. Brian Others said the real strongest trio is Luffy, Bonnie, and Chopper. I mean, I think it would actually be really great if Chopper was the next one to do it, right? So if it was, you know, an order of it happening, like it's Luffy, Bonnie, and Chopper, and then we just think, like, you have to have a Devil Fruit to do it, and then suddenly, eventually, Luffy and other characters that don't have Devil Fruits are able to do it. Jody Liz said Chopper just went Gear 5 Geppo this Chopper. I called it out when we were talking about it. I was like, he's got the cartoon wheels. Chopper needs a model. Hito model what? Emil said when Nika was first introduced, CP0 were playing Othello. It's been there from the start. The end of this series is going to be a game of Othello Reversi, and it's just going to be Emu flipping, Luffy flipping, Emu flipping, Luffy flipping, and I'm okay with seeing like every person that we've ever seen in the story get like these Gear 5th or demon forms. You know, like here comes Dalton, you know, to protect the, you know, everybody in a Gear 5 Bison form, you know. You know, Martin said it was Go, actually. Well, that's why I've been saying Go, because I thought that it was Go in Wano, but I don't know. I don't know the mechanics of these games to speak about it intelligently, but I do know that we are flipping pieces from black to white, white to black, and that's the way this fight is going to end up going. And this is what we're leading towards in the end game of all of this. Shout out to Xavier Ortiz. Appreciate the super again. Said, food for thought. Luffy's own awakening was heralded, preceded by a string of awakenings from the rest of the Strats in Wano. This time, ... What I want to see is, you know, all of these characters, like, you know, these awakenings that, you know, you're talking about, like Zoro saying, I'm the king of hell, and Sanji calling about Ifrit, you know, Monster Chopper, etc., you know. I want to see Demonia Floor. They've been embracing darkness, and I want the story to say, like, that's wrong. Like, it got you to this moment, but that's what this person wants. This person wants you to embrace the darkness. What you need to do is be like Luffy. You need to embrace the light. So there has to be this shift in thinking. And that's why they'll be able to win. SKTX said, following the Thriller Bark parallels, I think Usopp might be the key against the Domi Reversi. Paralleling is I'm always negative moment against Perona. Someone brought this up last week, and I don't want that personally, just because that was such a good gag, and I don't want it. Like, at that point, it's like it worked for Perona, but if it works against Emu, I'm like, okay, what is special about Usopp now? Because that's crazy. Like, at that point, you need to say Usopp's got Conqueror's Haki, Usopp's a D, Usopp's from like a crazy lineage. There's just like things that need to happen. Usopp's got the voice of all things. Like I don't know. There needs to be like this huge awakening moment. Like, it can't just be played for a gag. I guess is what I'm saying. Like, if Oda's going to do it and commit to something like that, it has to be with this reveal that he's got Conqueror's Haki, and at that point, I'm like, what's left for Usopp to do to achieve his dream? Because at that point, if you've got Conqueror's Haki and you're standing up against Emu, you're a brave warrior of the sea. You've won. You've achieved your dream. Game over, Usopp. Baby Pluto N said, a Luffy way to combat this game is Luffy spawns a paint bucket and paints the giants all white. What's crazy is that I could actually see that very easily. Like, because didn't he already, like, do a paint bucket with the bat or something? I feel like there already was a paint bucket. Yeah, with the hockey. Yeah, the bat. Yeah, I thought so. Who do I think Mosa is? I don't know. I like the idea of it being Wang Zhi. Because I feel like when they were introduced, there was something that tied into Wang Zhi and Rocky Port or something. Maybe I'm wrong. I just feel like, I mean, it's either somebody we don't know or it's somebody we do know, and the characters that we do know could be, you know, could make things complicated. Like, why would he have, you know, essentially like a pen pal for 6 years or so many years or 14 years or whatever it is? Who could it be? People think it's Dragon? I mean, I guess that's kind of interesting. It's unexpected. Ties Loki to Luffy. I feel like it's got to be connected to Shanks. Like, who does Shanks have beef with? And then that's who I think it could be. I don't know. I just feel like it's got to be someone that we've heard of but don't know. Like, maybe it's Louis Arnault, right? Could be Louis Arnault. The reason you would have a phone call in the story and not show who they are is two reasons. You're trying to hide that some character is a double agent in this world that is actually secretly friends with Loki, but has a high position that they can't, you know, blow. Which is why it bumps me that it could be Dragon. Like, you would want it essentially to be like, he's on the phone with Akainu. You know, not that I want that. He's on the phone with Fujitora. He's on the phone with, like, some sort of weird high-ranking Marine. He's talking to Garp. He's talking to Sengoku. But the other way you would do it is to make it feel like the character has been in the story longer than they have, and it's someone that we haven't seen, but maybe have felt the presence of in the world. That's where you get your Wang Zhis, your Ochokus, Louis Arnault, Calico Yorkie. You know, like, it's some sort of character that has only been name dropped, or a character that you've forgotten about, and then now they're making their entrance into the story, but you don't feel like it's so sudden because they've been on the phone with Loki for a little bit. BK said, a dragon talked to Vegapunk at Egghead start, so him talking to Loki at Elbaf start makes sense. I'm not going to completely rule out this dragon idea, but I don't think that we should be comparing it to the Vegapunk thing. Like, if we're gonna make the dragon thing work, then we need to really lean into the Vegapunk thing, where it's like dragon knows about the books being there. At that point, I want to know that dragon has spent time on Elbaf and has read all the books with Vegapunk. Dragon knows the real secret of what happened to Harold and is somehow protecting Loki because Loki was also protecting the books. Like it needs to go in that direction at that point. So for me, I want it to be someone, this isn't always my case. Like I usually want it to tie into something we've already seen, but in this particular situation, I'm thinking we need something that we haven't seen before. Something that's going to get us to the end game. Or it needs to be one of the craziest reveals of all time. Shout out to Ty. Ty said, get your tinfoil cap. Mind you, this is whenever I debuted a tinfoil hat on stream, which was probably like 3 or 4 years ago. This is the same piece of tinfoil. I said, I doubt Emu is the final boss. We've already seen the hockey knot buckle Emu and revert his creations. I think Emu is going to be Blackbeard's final power-up. What's up, Savage Crew? Be safe on the road, Barry. Can't wait to see maybe when Vern visits. Got the Texas meetups happening. Ty said he wants that leaderboard spot. Well, I think you're number one on one particular leaderboard. So let's see here. I mean, we've talked about this idea where does Blackbeard kill Emu? And then, you know, Blackbeard's the final boss. And I'm okay with that. I mean, especially if, like, we really get out how menacing Emu is. Like, I don't mind having, like, this oh shit moment where Blackbeard, you know, like, somehow gets the drop on Emu. And it's like, they've done all these things, but Blackbeard was just a step ahead. And it's like, it doesn't matter that you're 800 years old. Like, say ha ha ha. And then that's what Luffy's got to deal with. But I don't know. I kind of like this idea that we get this massive, like, Holy Land battle where people are getting flipped into demons, and then Luffy is flipping them into angels, you know, or, you know, other Gear 5 Nika forms, and it's just this all-out brawl that looks like one of these board games. But we are owed, and we have been owed since, I think, chapter 222 or something like that, like a really great fight between Luffy and Blackbeard, and even earlier because they were introduced in, like, I don't know, 130 something. at that point though, like Imu's definitely got to have like a Hito Hito no Mi, right? Because Blackbeard's final power up needs to be Zoan also. If Blackbeard does this, like, I don't want it to happen until Imu has, like, just done the most. Like, Imu's ran through the, you know, the crew, people that Luffy loves and all this kind of stuff, and then it feels like, you know, Blackbeard basically does Luffy a favor, but then at the same time, it's like, no, now we gotta deal with this guy. Brian said, is Shirahoshi still at the Holy Land? No. We saw in, I think 956, Garp took Shirahoshi back to, escorted the whole family back down to Fishman Island. Shout out to Adamus. Super said, haven't been online in a few months. Glad you're still doing weeklies for the community. Keep up the good work. Hey, we're not going anywhere. You know, I know I haven't been putting as many videos out as I used to, but you know, we're still here chatting, talking about the chapters, and keeping the community alive that way. I will be putting a video out, hopefully this week. I have been working on one. So, we'll see. Catching up here. Can Blackbeard negate Imu's power? I mean, maybe. It's already, you know, that particular fruit is designed to stop other fruits, but it's also darkness incarnate, so it's like, how, if you're already darkness, how much darker can you get? I don't know. Shout out to K Pro N. Appreciate the super. Said, getting the feeling Blackbeard is just being set up as a heavy for Luffy. He's gonna win versus Shanks propaganda. And the Straw Hats will go to Fishman Island to look good for Emu fight. Sorry for opposite opinion. I would be disappointed if Blackbeard was just like a heavy, like if he got taken down super easily for Luffy before the end. I think that Blackbeard, like, he's such a planner, he's such a schemer, like, he needs to get a hold of some ancient weapons, he needs to do some devastating things. He needs to make the world want to kneel before him in some way. But we also need to understand, like, why is his body different? Like, what, like, why does he want to be king of the world? What is driving him? We don't necessarily know that. And I also don't want Blackbeard to kill Shanks, but I mean, it's probably gonna happen. But it just, the thing is it cannot happen. I don't care if Shanks dies after Luffy and Shanks meet and maybe fight and do whatever, but it's like, if Luffy never gets to have like a cathartic moment with Shanks about him, you know, reaching the pirate's top, you know, whatever. Becoming an emperor, getting the One Piece, anything like that. Like, I personally, you know, we talked about it last week or a couple weeks ago, but it's like, I would love it if Shanks and Buggy go to Laugh Tale together. And they have a moment with the One Piece before Luffy, like, walks into the room. And then they realize that whatever is there was never meant for them. It's always been meant for Luffy. And then they both, you know, character growth for Buggy, but they both walk away and allow Luffy to become King of the Pirates and get the One Piece. Even though they were there first. Doesn't matter. Like, this is about him. You know, something like that I think would be cool. Ty said also, thinking the crew's observation hockey feats could be possible because of the love that connects them. Usopp saw Luffy and Dressrosa. Luffy sent Shanks back on Wano, and now Luffy and Chopper. I mean, I'm all about having a tie into, you know, love and have some sort of connective tissue between the crew, right? Because it's like, what is this story about if it's not about you know, Nakama, right? Friends that become family, the ties that bind us together. You spend enough time with people, you sort of learn their energy and everything, and it's just Luffy, like, realizing, like, oh, hey, that's Chopper. Chopper's got his own specific energy. You know, it starts getting a little bit like Hunter x Hunter in that way, where, you know, you start sensing people's particular aura, or even Dragon Ball. You know, people's energy have their own uniqueness to them. Alexa said, thoughts on Mosa being the owl? Does the owl talk? Because that's kind of crazy if Biblio is Mosa. I'm okay with that. You know what I'd love too is, like, if it is legitimately like a well, the problem with that is, like, at that point I would want them to have, like, the owl fruit, right? But then at that point it's also like, okay, but how can they shrink the books? Because it would be cool if the owl was pretending to be an owl for most people, but there are certain people that know that the owl is actually a human that is just pretending to be an owl. And it's like, why are you doing this? You know, I mean, you're really committing to the bit, but it does make, like, a somewhat interesting reveal. But then but it's the devil fruit that can change inanimate object sizes that makes me say that's probably not the case. Chin wants to see Charlos get reversied. Only if he still looks like a pot of greed. Only if he's still like Buggy without his parts. Only if that man is still an accordion. Then I'm on board. Emil said, thinking back, it was Mihawk who mentioned Luffy's mysterious power to turn foes into friends. And Mihawk has the emu eyes. I like that being subtle foreshadowing to the idea that Luffy will very literally turn foes into allies, or change people by flipping them into some sort of Gear 5th form. Bojack said, "Good chapter, huh? Just here to leave a thumbs up." Yeah, it's good. It's a setup chapter for sure, but I'm glad that we're gonna get into some action next week for sure. And I don't think we're that much further away from the truth of Harold. Like, I don't know if it's coming next week, right? But it's like, I see a situation where our guys get up there with Loki. Loki sees everybody getting reversied and then reveals that that's what happened to Harold and why Loki had to kill Harold. Everyone, starts to understand, in some way we get out that everybody has been misunderstanding Loki and they've tied him up for the wrong reasons, right? Loki was always a little shit, right? But he had his heart in the right place when he killed his dad. Because his dad, at that point, wasn't his dad. And that'll take us into some sort of a flashback. But I really want to see young Loki also. And I want to see his flashback with Zebek. I don't see how motivated that is right now, though. Because the focus is on, everything with Harold. But it would be great to see some of the childhood stuff with Loki also. And also, just shout out to Hyrodin. I love how much screen time this guy's getting. He is my favorite giant, by the way. I've liked him since we were in Dressrosa. There's just something about him that I think is cool, and I'm glad that he's getting the spotlight here. He's also a son of Harold. He's part of the Grand Fleet. I don't know. I just think that's awesome. I just think it's awesome. We've got the Dorian Broggie, yeah, they're cool, but I think we have the coolest giant technically on our crew. Thoughts on Mosa being Morley? I don't know. I don't think so. The Die Show said, do we think Cabana's going to tell them the key to anti-regen, or is he too injured? I think he use the opportunity to tell us about it to say that he's number 2 on the crew. Chopper jumped down specifically to save Scapper so that he could get the information. So the best case scenario is, and you know, I mean, it sucks timing wise, right? Is Luffy, Zoro, Sanji, Hyruden, and Loki get on a boat and go up to the Sun World. Chopper stays down and heals Scapper there because it's you know, like, oh, we can't move him or whatever, or they get him on the boat. Anyway, either way, Chopper doesn't go with them all the way to the fight. Like, Chopper's got to stay with Scapper. So it's a thing where they rush into the fight blindly. They are fighting the regen, they can't get through it, and then as Chopper is working on Scapper, Scapper tells Chopper like key information, which then Chopper goes to try and deliver to everybody. And whether or not he gets that out or not, at least the information has been given out. Will of Dream, James said, best sentence ever, Randy. You need to put that on a t-shirt for merch. His heart was in the right place when he killed his dad. Oh, man. Chopper uses scope behind the scenes and knows their weakness like ores on Thriller Bark. Did Chopper use scope in Thriller Bark? I feel like the last time I remember Chopper using scope was against Gadatsu, but maybe he did. Because I do remember there was an element against ores where someone was like, oh, his weakness is his foot or elbow or something. He used it against ores, yeah. That had to have been the last time that we saw it, though. So I feel like Oda has completely forgotten about scope. Board flip thing, Tama foreshadowed that too with their dangos. Yep. Had a big theory about that part in Wano, and that came true. Jody List said, imagine Loki gets unchained and immediately grabs Ragnar and flies into the sky like Superman, straw hats on shoulders. Honestly, I'm here for that panel. Adamus Super and said, with the recent episodes, do you think the Gorosei and Emu created the Calm Belt? Was it a clash? Saturn immediately made the waves chill out. That's interesting. I think that the Calm Belt is more of like a physical thing, where the Calm Belt is created because the red line is blocking all of the possible wind. But maybe I'm wrong. Celestial Knight said the Calm Belt could also be the doing of ancient Poseidon or Shirahoshi's ancestors. Well, I mean, there could be a connection there because obviously that's where the Sea Kings live, but I also don't mind it being a reaction to one of the ancient weapons, you know, in the same way that all of the weird weather in the Grand Line should be because of all of the craziness that happened 800 years ago. Islands being destroyed, clashes of hockey, weird devil fruit things. You know, it's a lot. Emil said, looking back, one of the major differences between the New World and the Paradise section of the Grand Line is how many non-government incorporated island the New World has. The New World does have a lot more unaffiliated islands. You have Elbaf, you have Wano. Fishman Island. No, well, Fishman Island is connected now. But it wasn't before, technically. So let's see. What else is people talking about? Probably gonna start winding down here, guys. 11:52 predictions. I think I just went through them. I think we're gonna see the monster trio and the brothers Loki and Hyrodin heading up to the Sun World, and they're gonna get there at the same time, like basically right after Imu/Gunko said their last lines. So I will probably get like a page or two to like kind of reset everything here, and then they're gonna get in there. Hopefully Chopper and Scapper, the oppers, hopefully the ops, they head up there too. But we'll see. And I feel like Ripley and Frankie have been running for 3 months to get over to this area. Like, when is that gonna happen? And when it does, I don't think it's going to end well for maybe either of them, but particularly if Scapper is going to come out on the other side of this. Cologne needs a devastating thing to happen to him because he's a kid in One Piece. So he's been having too good of a childhood, so somebody's got to die. Which sucks. I think that Loki, as like a joke, is going to be the one to take out Thorman. And I also love how scrawny the one named Thor is. It's ridiculous. I think we'll definitely get a Luffy versus Dory rematch. Because they fought in Little Garden. And Luffy won, so I pretty handedly. I'd like to see Dory kind of get one over on Luffy so that he has to really reconsider how he's gonna like go about this. Another thing that could happen is Loki gets up there, right? And he sees what's going on and he immediately goes on like a murderous offensive. So like he'll like split somebody in half or completely crush somebody, and they'll be like, whoa, 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 Brick just killed a guy. What's going on here? We're not trying to kill him. Let's just let's whoa. And that'll get into like how they can regen and all this. And it's like, no, you actually have to you can't hold back against these guys, essentially. Adamus said, quick opinion, Big Mom returning stocks, bullish question mark. I'm like 85%, 90 on, like, especially if Big Mom is coming back. She's coming back here at some point. I still feel like there's something that needs to happen there. We need to wrap that up, and I don't think that Wano was a good enough wrap up. And Volkazard said, where is Lilith? Lilith, I'm like almost 100% positive that they will get reversied. Just because that will give Lilith the physical appearance of actual Lilith from, where Lilith gets their name. Lilith will start looking like Darkstalkers. And I don't think that Oda is going to miss that opportunity to do that. Jody Liz said, imagine Loki slaughters all of the giants we love and tells us you can't save them, they're in the underworld. Woo. Oh boy. Big Mom cover story. I would be so mad if it was just a cover story. At that point, don't bring her back. Die Show said Emu's gonna see Robin one of these chapters. I would very much like that to get addressed. Very much. But I would also like to bring back Demonio Floor. Shadow Zunisha? What are we talking about, Shadow Zunisha? Talking about, like, Zunisha's eyes? Killingham's shadows? Did I miss that? Did one of the shadows look like Zunisha? Oh, I see that. Yeah. Even with long legs also. That's kind of crazy. Like, if it didn't have those long legs, it'd just be like, oh, that's just an elephant. But with those giant legs, it's like, that's Zunisha. That's crazy. And like, you see the height, where Dory and Brogy are basically Loki height now. So that means that all of these other creatures are so much bigger than them. This is insane. All right. Yeah. Any last things, guys? I think I'm gonna wrap up here. Leonardo wants the next cover story to be Lilith and Bonnie's journey to fix Kuma. That's cute, but I would rather keep them in the main story. I don't need a cover story for them because I like having them around. Yeah. Do I think that Loki could have an all-white form, hence the thought that it's connected to Nika? I think that they should. I think if we're going to believe that they are the sun god, that they should have some sort of transformation that makes them seem like they are the sun god. The devil fruit that Loki has to be comparable in some way. So we do need an explanation of that. But I also want the situation where Loki realizes that, you know, Luffy is the real, true Nika and the true sun god, and that Loki is just an imitation. Or Loki is knowingly and willingly going with the false narrative as a part of, like, the mischievous lore and nature of Loki in mythology. Zunisha might be Emosphere, said Mr. 9. Maybe, yeah. Leonora Martin said, my theory on Shaggy / Mosa is that he or she is a celestial dragon, and the flames Emu mentioned last chapter is why he or she can't talk anymore. Yeah, I mean, I do like the idea that whoever they're talking to is at the Holy Land, or, you know, that's why I was also mentioning Marines. Like, you know, there's other things that are going on that need to be addressed. But then I also, you know, like it being someone that we don't know, too. So, you know, we'll see. There's such a huge situation going on, Chin, so when you say, like, I wonder what Loki's reaction is going to be to Gear 5, ally or enemy, they have to work together. Because, reluctantly or not, like, there's not time for those two to fight right now. Even if Loki's stance is nobody destroys Elbaf but me, like, and Luffy's stance is nobody destroys Elbaf, like, you're still getting a situation where those two are protecting Elbaf from Emu. Neil said, I could see the monster trio leaving for the Sun Realm with the new giant pirates, leaving Loki behind, then either Gaban or Chopper unlocking him later. That's interesting, too. Like, if they do stay behind, and it is the thing that I was talking about before, where they're getting, you know, squashed up there, and then Gaban reveals to Chopper what Chopper wanted to find out, but then, you know, Loki, you know, and Gaban is too weak to use the ability, and Loki says, I know what needs to be done. And then Chopper and Gaban do free Loki, right? Which is also tied into the idea that they had to get the key from Gaban. So if Gaban is tied to this idea of the key and Loki and everything, then there's kind of a through line there. So I buy that. And then Loki comes in at the last minute with the save and shows everybody like how to combat this regen thing. I like that. That's cool. Leonardo said, do I think Hyrunin will do something important in the next few chapters? I hope so. I want the character to do more. Facile said, crackpot theory, Mo says Garp. I mean, I said that earlier. I was like, when I was rattling off people, I was like, you know, the crazy thing is if it's some high-ranking Marine, you know, it's a Kainu, it's Fujitora, it's Garp, it's Sengoku, you know, it's and it's just like, why are, you know, then it's like, why are they talking to this person? And then, you know, like, that becomes interesting. Tyrannosaur, member for 42 months, said, how'd you like the chapter? Sorry, I missed the stream. Stream's just about to wrap up, but the chapter is a great setup chapter. I'm excited for whatever action we're going to get next week. There's no break, right? Weird. Viz doesn't even like say whether there's a break or not. Normally it says next chapter in 7 days, next chapter in 14 days. It doesn't say anything. Oh, there is a break. Next one's on June 28th. Is that more than 2 weeks? June 22nd. Oh, okay. It's always a 2-week break. Because it's like you have 1 week and then you have to wait the other week, and then you get the chapter that week. So it's always like 2 weeks before the next chapter. That's what I mean when I'm saying 2-week break. Neil said no Father's Day chapter. It's like, this is it. If the next one's about Harold, then, you know, they're getting into dads that way. Alright, well, I can say that there will be there will be a video in this time frame before the next chapter. I've already been working on it, so it'll come out this week or the next for sure. Theory for theory, we'll figure that out. You know, we'll see. I don't know. Who do you guys think? Be good. I hope Hiriden does not get turned. But, you know, maybe that's the way you get Loki versus Hiriden. I don't know which way Oda's going to be on this line of, does Loki get turned? Does he not get turned? You know, is Loki forced to be the hero and go up against all of the other giants to protect his kingdom, even though he's trying to, like, destroy it? Or, which is the interesting version to me, or does he get turned and then it's like, okay, now we gotta fight this guy. Oh, he's really strong. You know, like, that's less interesting to me. But that's the, you know, that's the real shonen way. Yeah. But, yeah. I think that's going to wrap things up, guys. I'm going to call it here. I appreciate you guys. Look out for a video coming soon on Dark Mirrors, Dark Reflections in One Piece. And, don't know yet about a theory for theory. Figure something out. But, we'll certainly be back here for 11:52. Think of something else to do for a stream. How far into the Kuma flashback are we? Because maybe I can run through a bunch of those episodes, because I haven't actually watched any of it yet. I didn't want to watch it until unless I could binge all of it. I don't know. I'll think about things. But see you guys later. Thanks again for everything. And you guys take care. Have a great rest of the week. I'll see you soon.
I've been swimming deep, deep. Savage.